yesterday's stream because I was working on the bathroom window. And today's stream might also be a little bit cut short, also because of the bathroom window. What happened was the bathroom window fell out. It was like just held by tiny little rivets that kept the whole thing from crashing down. And yeah, at some point the last rivet broke and I had the window in my hands. Now I'm getting it replaced, but since this is a window in the roof, a big window in the roof, I basically now have snow in the bathtub. Like every time I've closed it up, but every time it snows, that thing comes down again, like that piece of wood or like styrofoam piece that I put in. It comes down again. So that will be like will take a lot of my time in the next couple of weeks until it's replaced. I think it cannot be saved. That is what I can tell you today. So we will have to completely replace it. But yeah, I'm here now. Want to just check on some of the seedlings that I brought here. I brought a lot of new ones that we haven't checked in the last days, and I want to go through all of them. And I also have new seedlings that we haven't, where we induced germination, and that need to be moved to the plant lamp. But yeah, for now, I just want to spend the stream today by checking on the seedlings first. And thank you for all for joining. Thank you for participating in my streams. This is going great in the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. So yeah, I appreciate you guys joining in. And yeah, let's start. So here is a bag. Not seeing any fungus gnats, and that is always a success. Seedlings are looking great. This is Lubivia winteriana hybrid. So that is amazing. I like that. Everything looking good, and they can go under the lamp. This one here, moving aside. If you kind of missed the time where we were sowing out, we will do another sowing out session sometime soon. Right now, we are working on the seedlings that we produced in the last month. We basically spent the whole month sowing out, and there are seedlings everywhere now. We just have to get them to a larger size, and then we have a lot of cool cacti in the next years that we can show on the channel. That yeah, you will be able to kind of watch from the beginning, from the seed corn to the flower. That is always the plan that I have, to show, to bring people into this whole thing, into the whole process that it takes from sowing out to later singling them out, replanting them as separate larger plants, to the flower after maybe 6 or 7 years. 6 or 7 years is a good time frame that they generally need to reach flowering age. So yeah, that's the kind of time that I hope we will be able to spend on the channel. And yeah, so we will now check some of the ones that we've sown out. The age is different, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream, guys. I appreciate it. We're checking seedlings, checking on everything that we sown out in the last weeks, just going through, making sure there are no problems. Yeah, and every now and then I talk about my window. No, 6 to 7 years, I meant, that would be very long. A normal time frame for these kind of cactus hybrids to flower is maybe, let's say, 5 to 8 years. But yeah, most of them come around between 6 or 7 years. That's just the time it takes to get them to flower, from sowing out to large plants that then eventually flowers. It is easier if you live in a country that has a good climate for flowering. I've seen a lot of early flowers in Australia, and I've also seen early flowers in California. these kinds of nice places where the weather is perfect for cacti. And yeah, that's unfortunately it's something where you need patience. I hate that I don't have a lot of patience, but it's just a must. So yeah, here's another container of little seedlings. They are maybe 10 days old, not longer, and everything all right. I always look if there is a seedling that was lost in the bag, that kind of sometimes they can expire from too much heat, from all kinds of different problems. When you get like fungus gnats in a bag, that can be a problem. But for now, the ones that I've checked, they all look great. Really nice. And we will have a lot of cool plants in the next years to come. So here you can see they are tiny little seedlings. You basically just sprinkle the seeds on top of the soil, because cacti need light to induce the germination, so you don't cover them. You sprinkle the seeds on top of the soil, and then if the temperature is right, they will come up within 2-3 weeks, and then you move them under a plant lamp. Any kind of plant lamp will do. They don't need a strong lamp, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff that that is part of this whole thing. Growing from seeds is a great hobby, is a lot of fun, and I always enjoy doing that in winter. So it's fun to do it on the stream too. And if you have questions, problems, also taking general questions, just let me know. In this one here, we have a little like germination of grass, just a little grass weed, and that can be a problem. So we remove it. If you see anything coming up in the beginning, just remove it, because the bigger it becomes, the more it can become a problem. Weeds in a container full of cactus seedlings, they can take away the light. They kind of compete for the resources. So always make sure that whatever you have in there doesn't get in conflict with the seedlings. And yeah, in between, I'm kind of working on my bathroom window upstairs. It's been a huge thing on the channel in the last couple of weeks, and that is why I every now and then might miss a stream, because we're working on the window. But it's coming to an end soon. I am currently trying to get it replaced completely, and then I have more time to do this again on a regular basis. So yeah, just in case I miss a stream here and there, it's probably the bathroom window. And today we had the first snow of the season here. So I will go out later, and we will move the heaters, the digital thermostat and the heater into the greenhouses. And then I will show you how I heat my greenhouses in winter. I usually have these like an electric heater and a digital thermostat where I can choose the temperature range. I usually set it to 1 degree Celsius, just barely above freezing. And we will put these out today. Hey, good morning, Andrea. Yeah, I almost didn't make it because of the window stuff. But I'm here now. Not sure how long, but I'm doing my best. It's possible that I'm like every now and then someone calls me because of the window, because I had to call a lot of companies to get a quote and all that. So I'm doing this and hope that nobody will interfere, so we can do it. But if something happens, just know that I will get back later. It's just difficult when it's outside, it's snowing, and when I came into my bathroom this morning, there was snow in my bathtub, because that thing that I put up came down overnight just from the snow. And yeah, I need that thing gone. I need a window again. It's like in the Bronx, just missing a little trash can where I can light a fire in, and then I have a perfect setting. So yeah, it needs to be gone before Christmas. I don't want to sit sit around on Christmas and don't have a window. That's kind of too much. So yeah, let's continue. Over here also a lot of healthy seedlings, very nice. You can see the healthy green color. Some of them have a little reddish kind of taint from the lamp. That is a reaction to the plant lamp, but nothing bad. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of these bathroom windows that are straight above the bathtub. So, and the moment I put something up, like I cut a piece of like styrofoam into the right size, and I got it like fixed in the frame of the window. But when it's snowing from above, that thing will fall down. So yeah. Okay. Hey Luke, welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. Yeah, just wanted to say, like, in regards to the comment, I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm in between moderating every now and then. Gotta make sure that YouTube doesn't have any problems with me. Yes, Luke, I remember. Welcome back, mate. Great to have you here. We've just had the first snow, and yeah, everything is moving towards winter now. And yeah, I'll do a video from outside today. We will heat the greenhouses now. Setting up the greenhouse heater and the digital thermostat today. And so there will be another video later. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, we will check a few more of the seedling containers that I have here, because I want to make sure that there's no problems in them. So we will just go through them. Any questions, I'm always happy to comment. And yeah, so these look good. No fungus gnats. I'm very happy with them. Overall, we've barely had any kind of problem so far with the sowing out. Yeah, no problem, Luke. Just come by every time you want to. I'll be back tomorrow. But it was great that you came over, you know. Yeah, first frost. I'm sure in other countries in Europe it's the same. Yeah, unfortunately. But on the other hand, I just wanted to show Kami the snow. Wanted to go out with Kami into the snow. But because she isn't really, I'm not sure if she was in snow before. So we were out, but she didn't really like it and went straight inside again. So yeah, over here, you're welcome, Luke. Always, I enjoy these streams also. Yeah, here we have a little bit of moss around one of the seedlings. I don't like that. Normally, it's not a problem. I've seen people with moss in their container, and it's okay. But I try to remove it before it gets too much, because it can cover the whole container, you know? Yeah, I mean, Kami doesn't like the cold, and so she wasn't really loving the snow. But I really want her to experience, like, walking through the snow. So I just hope that at some point we will get that kind of dry snow that we used to get in the past, you know? We don't have that a lot anymore. A lot of the snow that we get here is rainy snow, like that kind of sludge, that kind of wet, rainy snow. And I really hope we will get something that is a little bit more like the classic movie kind of snow. I want her to be able to walk through it and at least experience it, you know, because she's so old, and I want her to experience that too. But she's doing great in the last days, by the way. I love how she she is in a much better shape than in summer. So that is great. Yeah, and over here, these have been growing pretty well. I guess the age is maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Within the next months, they will probably double in size. But this is maybe the second stage in the development cycle of the seedlings. The they grow pretty fast if everything's all right. You need to have the right temperature, a constant temperature to get them to growing, and not too much light, but also a little bit, and humidity inside the closed bag. And if that all happens, they will grow pretty fast. Maybe a centimeter per month, or maybe even more. We'll see. Over here also, healthy seedlings, pretty good. One of them is reddish white, so that could be a variegated seedling. The soil looks a little bit too dry, so I want to water it a little bit, but just a little bit. It shouldn't be like completely soaking wet, but if the soil is too dry, they can dehydrate, even if in a closed container. Andrea writes that her seedlings don't grow at all. It depends on the temperature. I mean, if you have them for example, in a greenhouse, in a cold greenhouse, then they will not grow. They kind of over winter, if you put a small seedling in a greenhouse, they will, in a way, kind of like they are reducing their whole everything to a minimum. They just don't need a lot of water, so they don't grow very fast. They kind of hibernate, you know. So if you put a little seedling in a greenhouse, you might not see a lot of growth over winter at all. The growth then starts again, maybe in March, even February already, when the temperatures in the greenhouse go up again. If you have them indoors, they just need a certain temperature and a lamp to grow. If you have them just on a window, they take longer to grow. Then they will certainly also grow if the temperatures are maybe around 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. Then they will grow, but slower. The lamp really speeds things up, also with spines, you know. So yeah, I hope this helps. Someone mentioned heat map, like a heat thing where you can also help them grow a little bit to keep a steady temperature. That will work too. Just make sure it's not getting too hot, but most of them are not reaching temperatures higher than 30 degrees Celsius, you know, so they will be all right. So over here, also looking great. I mean, so many of the seedlings look great. The only problems that I've seen, and we've seen a lot of them, was fungus gnats. The fungus gnats just had contaminated the soil. So we will use hot water to get the soil to a point where the fungus gnats wouldn't stand a chance. But probably not today, because we need to be sowing out. And now that I've opened this, I saw a fungus gnat just fly out. The seedlings still look great, so it's not really a problem yet. But you can lose single seedlings in a whole container if you have fungus gnats in it. Fungus gnats in a closed container are a problem, and we try to avoid it. It's easier to avoid it than to heal it, you know. Hey mate, yeah, I've been working on the window yesterday, and it probably needs to be fully replaced. So I'm currently talking to companies that will replace the window. But yeah, it would take a while, you know. They currently are full of work, like they have a pretty full schedule, and it might take a while until they have time to fix it, but the whole thing will probably be replaced. And yeah, I'm glad when it's finally done. I need a bathroom again, you know, like you can shower, you know, but it's really cold. You know, it's like you're showering on the camping, like when you're camping or outdoors. So I really need to have my bathtub back. I miss it, you know, like that feeling when it's when it's cold or rainy outside and you can just take a bath, a hot bath, you know, that kind of stuff. I really need that again. So hopefully it will be fixed soon. I might miss a stream here and there in the next weeks, but I'm working on it, and I want it replaced before Christmas. I don't want to sit around here like without the bathroom window on Christmas. So I hope it will be fixed. Yeah, exactly. So over here, more seedlings. And I wanted to say thanks a lot for all the support that the channel got in the last days. Apparently, 1 or 2 videos went a little viral. One of the flower videos, and I got a lot of replies, a lot of kind comments over the night. It's getting hard to reply to everyone, but I'm trying to catch up. But again, thanks a lot to everyone who kind of supports the channel. I got support on Patreon, which I appreciated a lot. So I wanted to say thank you for that too. The channel is growing. I suspect we will have a big audience next spring, like when we start outdoors again, do the cactus season outdoors. So yeah, I'm just enjoying it. I've been in touch with YouTube because they had kind of like flagged something in a stream. I spent the whole day trying to find out what it was, but they wouldn't tell me. They couldn't tell me. So we will just continue with the stream. But you know, I might not be able to take all questions anymore, like in the past, because they never really tell you what they like or don't like. So I will see how it goes, and just do it along the way. You know, I enjoy the stream, but I also want to make sure that everything is family friendly. You know, that kind of stuff. I really try to, you know, when we go viral and people see the videos, I really try to have my videos seen by a wider audience, and that is important to me, you know, because also because it isn't easy to kind of like run a channel in this niche, in this kind of business, you know. So yeah, hey mate, hey Eric, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. We're just going through the containers of seedlings that we've sown out on stream in the last maybe 1 month, and everything's looking great. We're having a few problems here and there, a little bit fungus gnats problem. Hey Maria, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I had to miss yesterday's stream, but I'm back on it now. Like I said, I've said it a few times in the stream. I don't want to say it too often, but there's still problems with the window, so I'm every now and then not making it to a stream. But I try to catch up, try to do it as often as I can. Also, because the page always grows when I do it, you know. It's great to just show people what we're doing here. I love it. I love that so many people have commented over the night. It feels like I'm seeing things grow in front of my eyes, you know, and that is a great feeling because I'm so impatient. I've been doing that so long. Good night, mate. Good night, Eric. I've been doing this for so long that, yeah, I would appreciate that it's taking off now. I've filmed thousands of videos, you know, so I'm looking forward to finally now having it being seen by more people, more and more people. It's a great feeling. I mean, I'm far away from an engineer. I would love to be one. So yeah, more seedlings here, and welcome to everyone who joins us. I mean, it's always great when people show up for this kind of stuff that I do. I appreciate it, and I love seeing the comments. You know, in the beginning when I did this on YouTube, it took a very long time to grow into what it is today. It took a very long time until everything was seen. It's just a hard thing to grow a YouTube channel, and I always thought that I would need maybe 6 to 10 years, and until it's like at a point where it's really taking off, you know. And now it's been maybe 8 years, a little bit more than 8 years that I'm doing this channel, and yeah, I'm just proud seeing what has grown over the years. I'm proud that I haven't given up when I wanted, because I wanted to give up very often. Also on other platforms, you know, I've been doing this so long that I've seen how it is, like how hard it is to grow an account on a new platform. And yeah, I mean, if I wouldn't be like, if I wouldn't show stuff that is great, you know, if I wouldn't be able to show good content, like Cactus content that I show, of course it would be impossible. But it is a bad feeling when you feel like you're posting great stuff, you know, you're putting out great work, but nobody is seeing it. And that is a problem that I had a lot on Instagram, you know, like, because I don't know what they are doing on Instagram. It feels like they are intentionally trying to make the platform worse and worse. And when you post something great, like a great plant video, flower video, and they aren't even showing it to your followers, that can be really, that's kind of takes the joy out of it, you know, when you're looking forward to sharing this amazing thing, and you post it and you have thousands of followers, so they should be able to see it, but they aren't seeing it because of the way they are doing their timeline stuff. You know, they're showing stuff like AI now, they're showing other accounts to promote big accounts that are already successful. So people see so much in their timeline, and it becomes harder and harder for the smaller pages to grow into to a point where they see, okay, this is actually taking off, and a lot of people give up. You know, that is, I found it very hard. I found it very hard. Instagram, the first 5 years, it was like I'm posting for myself. I got 2 or 3 likes by people who know me personally, or people who, like, by my mother, you know, the supporters that you always have. But nobody else was seeing it. So I'm just glad that I finally made it through that, at least, you know. Um, and that was, and I really believe it's too hard, you know. A lot of small accounts that are that are capable of doing great things, that post great stuff, they are just not seen on a wider audience, you know, on a wider level. And you have to have patience with cacti. When you're growing cacti from seeds, you have to have patience, and you have to have patience when you grow a new account into something completely new. If you listen to a lot of the YouTubers, the big YouTubers who made it, who are successful, most will probably tell you it took them a very long time to get started. And I underestimated how long it is. I mean, I only knew that figure between 6 to 10 years or so, because I had already read it on others, like where other people talked about how long it took them. And if I hadn't read that, I had assumed that, you know, when you're 2, 3, 4 years in and it's not working the way you want it, you kind of start doubting yourself. You kind of start doubting that whatever you do is good enough. And I'm glad that I didn't do that. I mean, you always try to improve, you always learn, and you post something and you see that certain stuff is more successful than other stuff. So you kind of improve by knowing what you can post that will reach a wider audience. But in general, it's kind of hard to grow these days, and I don't think today it is possible to just grow on a platform like Instagram. Instagram alone is the one platform where I feel like they have no clue what they are doing. They just, I don't know. they have changed so many things, and none of them have improved the platform. None of them have improved the platform for the creators or the users. In my opinion, they have just changed the platform in a way that allows them to make the most money. But they forget that in order that people want to use it, like the wide audience, the people, the creators, and all the people who share, the platform needs to be useful for them, and they kind of fail at that right now. Facebook is doing a lot better, surprisingly, than Instagram in regards to showing my plant videos, showing the flower videos. On Instagram, it's just, I'm just doing it as a portfolio to show the kind of stuff that I do on Instagram. And on Instagram, I have, I don't know, 70,000, maybe 60, 70,000 followers. You know, it's become very difficult to make it there. So my recommendation is just be yourself, stay true to it, and do it consistently on all platforms. Be yourself on all platforms. It only one of those profiles needs to go viral, needs to be successful. Everything else will follow. Just be yourself, stay true to whatever you do. Don't change the content that you do to please the algorithm, because they change the algorithm all the time, and their priority is just making money. It's not to show the best posts, you know. So if you kind of adjust whatever you do to go viral, to go viral more often, then they will just, at some point they would say, okay, now the rules are completely different. Now the quality flower videos that you did in the beginning go viral more often, but then you haven't done them anymore because you have changed your content to reach the mass market. But the mass market, that is changing daily, that is changing every year. It's like Google, where they consistently change the rules of the search engine. So in my opinion, it makes no sense to try to please the algorithm. It is consistency and being a standout character, no matter where, will always pay off, will always long-term grow into a brand if you stick to it. If a little bit of luck, and that will get you further in life than in the online landscape than just trying to go viral as often as possible. I mean, it can work for influencers, for people who just have one viral post and then they can scale it up as a business. But in my opinion, the more like stuff like this, you just have to be yourself, have to grow, do whatever you want to do. And when you're good at it, it will succeed. And when you succeed, when you are like, it kind of shows in the videos, when you enjoy your videos, then at some point it will just be like a button was clicked and it will take off, you know. But yeah, it has taken a long time. Maria is asking about the temperature for seedlings. Like, okay, so the temperature should be maybe around 29 degrees Celsius in the beginning. Towards, you can have a little bit more than 30, 32, 33 even can be okay, as long as you do not have seedlings. The moment you are just sprinkling the seeds on top of the soil and put it in the right temperature, and at that point the heat, like too much heat isn't the problem, but the more they get to the seedling stage, they are also sensitive to overheating. So in the beginning, 29 to 32 Celsius will be all right. Not too much light, not direct sunlight, a little bit light. A heat source that can get the temperature to that range. And after 14 days, maybe you remove them from the heat source. And a grow box, I read it, like a styrofoam box. I have one. I built one with a lamp. I will show it in one of the next videos. I built one for the channel, and I think I posted it somewhere. I'm currently not using it because I use a bigger lamp that wouldn't fit into that box. But that box is great and it can do the trick. And I want to show you how I did it in the next days. I basically just ordered me a big styrofoam box and put a hole into the top and moved the lamp into it. A little one of these kind of square lamps, like these LED panel lamps that I use. I don't have one here, but I will show you when I show you the box that I built. And yeah, that is the kind of that works in theory. So yeah, just make sure it doesn't cause a fire, because the moment you have a lamp on styrofoam and all, it gets hot. It can start a fire, and you need to be careful about that, especially when it's cheap lamps. But apart from that, no problem. Let me see the comments. Hey Dave, good morning. Window still not repaired. Probably beyond saving is what I heard yesterday. So we will replace it. And I've been messaging around like big companies today, having phone calls with them, and they will replace that window very soon. I do not heat the box separately, but due to the lamp, you already have high temperatures in the box. You know that plant lamp generates a perfect temperature, and yeah, theoretically you do not need to heat it, but you can put in a heat pad below. If it fits in, just get the right size of box for the heat pad that you have, put holes into it for the cable. But again, everything that you do there, be careful about fire risk, because that can certainly be a problem, you know. Never leave them unattended. If you are there, if you see it, it's okay, but don't. A lot of these like plant lamps, you know, there are also cheap kind of plant lamps that are just from overseas, you know. And with these, you always need to be a little bit careful. Put a smoke detector besides them. I have 3 smoke detectors where I have my seedlings, just to make sure. Yeah. Let me see. I mean, a plastic box will work too, like these. If transparent plastic box will work too, but it makes it harder to attach a lamp on it. If you can attach the lamp, I mean, you don't need a lamp, but it helps. It greatly speeds things up. The seedlings just grow faster, and if you can do that, if you can somehow solve the problem with the lamp, if you decide to put one there, then a plastic box will work too. I just chose styrofoam because you can cut it to size. That was the plan, and I just put a square hole into the lid and set the lamp on top of it. Yeah, I'm growing all different kinds of cactus flower hybrids, different ones by Uwe Kahle or by myself, all kinds of different hybrids, Cantora, like these colorful pink stripes kind of hybrids that have crazy colors. They are from a cross between Sorensia candicans and Echinopsis toralapana. I also grow a lot of Lobivia. I just enjoy Lobivia, Sorensia, also the columnar cacti a little bit, you know. But there has to be a reason to make that I'm sowing them out, and it's usually so I can get a hybrid with a columnar body and great flowers. I just try to combine different kind of hybrids and try to get the best possible flower. Yeah, that is what I'm growing. Hybrids with Bamboy. I'm a big fan of Uwe Kahle, and he made some great crosses that I'm sowing out because he's a friend of mine, and I will never say no to seeds from him. Never. that will not happen because the quality is just so great. Yeah, Maria, LED lamps do not heat. I mean, they produce heat, but they don't get so hot compared to other kinds of plant lamps, compared to the HPS lamps, like sodium kind of lamps, or whatever that it's called, high pressure sodium, I think is the name. They get a lot hotter than these, like these metal. And in Germany, the word says halogen. I'm not sure how it's spelled, but those lamps get very hot too, and the LED lamps just do not heat up so much, but they still produce heat. They produce, in my opinion, they produce the perfect amount of heat for cactus seedlings. So I like them. You could maybe even run the lamp in a fairly colder environment, like run the box, and the cactus seedlings will still be all right. They will still be growing because in that insulated box and with the lamp, the temperature is pretty high. So yeah. Hey mate, greetings to Russia. So yeah, what else? Let me see the comments. No, I just take a little bit time. I'm going down the comments and there are just too many, so I will get we'll get down to the questions one after the other, you know? It's not that I don't care. I just wasn't there yet. The thing doesn't automatically scroll down, so I'm a little bit behind. So yeah, let me see. Yes, halogen lamps, exactly. I haven't had one yet, I believe, but I had one, an HPS lamp, and that thing was very expensive to run. It had like 600 watts was the kind of electricity that it charged, and it was too expensive to run it, and that's what brought me to the LED lamps. LED lamp has maybe 100 watt, some even less. So that is a good alternative, and every year they get better. At some point, you will be able to grow cacti indoors. I mean, I don't believe we're there yet. Also, because it takes you don't only need the lamp. You know, you need to create the environment. You need to create the humidity, the mist, the morning dew, and that is kind of difficult. You know, you're always outdoors. You have a changing conditions. Overnight, the temperature goes down, and during the day it gets warmer again. That kind of stuff. And it's hard to recreate that indoors, but in my opinion, just the quality of the lamp will become better and better until at some point you could theoretically grow them indoors, you know. But in my opinion, outdoors is always better. Like if you can move them out in spring, that will be optimal. Moving them out when after the frost, after the last waves of frost, that will be the right time to do it, you know. But yeah, we're getting there. Hey mate, I just want to say hello. I'm going through, so it takes the time, but I will get to all the questions. Yeah, Maria, like 10 years ago, I had an LED lamp that was not comparable to what they are selling today. They used to sell these in blue or in red, separate kind of colors, and today they are more like full spectrum kind of lamps that just try to recreate all the different spectrums of the natural light, and that kind of stuff gets better and better, and that just leads to healthier seedlings. Overall, everything has improved a lot. I might even still have one of those lamps, you know, and they were barely working. Stuff was barely growing, but it was better than nothing. But it's not comparable to how it is today. And I remember being asked about the state of LED lamps maybe 10 years ago, and what I said back then was that it's not it's not an option. It's not an indoor option long term. It can be short term, but 10 years ago there was never, it wasn't really close that it could become something that you can really do. And today it's the first time that I'm overthinking what I said back then, and I believe that, yes, I believe that these lamps will get better and better until they are great, efficient, and cheap to run. And that is great. That is good. Everything that gets the electricity costs down is awesome. So yeah. Ben, I'm considering, are you doing a seed release this year? I consider it. But I mean, I will do it outside the channel. I don't want to bring in the seeds here, but I consider doing something on Christmas, but it's not, I'm not fully, it's always, in the past, I had the worst kind of burnout when I did it, because it's so much work. You always have to we did this kind of Christmas event kind of stuff in our groups, and it was always a lot of work, and I'm still thinking about it, but I consider doing it maybe around Christmas. So yeah, there will be something like that. I'm currently working on it. I have talked about it a little bit, but I want to keep it out of YouTube, but it will happen. It will happen eventually. I believe in, what I do on the channel isn't really commercial stuff. I'm not not a commercial seller anymore. So I'm more free to just do stuff like that, So it will happen. Dave is writing that he heard about people putting bottles of water sealed in the box to create a thermal kind of heat. That can work. I mean, sure. But of course you can't bring in the electricity then, I mean, it depends on if that water is able to evaporate. If it does, it can get into the electricity. If not, if you have a closed bottle, I'm not sure if it can generate electricity, if it can generate heat. Maybe. I'm not sure. I heard a lot about people, like, for example, heating the greenhouse with stuff like compost. I've heard a lot of stories about that, where you can put like a box of compost in there, and it will just do the classic stuff that is happening on compost, like breaking down and producing heat just from the bacteria. Maybe this could work similar, but you're probably not able to get the heat that you wanted to exactly the same range. It might be hard to kind of get it right, a big wood germinator 10 years ago. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the electricity prices today, it makes it unaffordable for me to run the old school kind of lamps that people used back then. Like I said, I bought me one, like 600 watts, and it was because sometimes I shake my head because sometimes I'm smart, but sometimes not, then I buy this huge lamp, this super strong lamp, because I couldn't get it in. I had to get the strongest, biggest lamp, and then when I hooked it up, I realized that it would bankrupt me if I would run it at the kind of electricity that it charges, and that is the pattern with me. I always try to go professionally right away, because I realized that sometimes it makes no sense to buy cheap, because then you have to replace it again the moment you kind of improve and your skills get on a higher level, and then you have to get something great right away, like later on. So it can be good to buy the best thing right away, or buy something great right away, because you do not spend time buying cheap lamps, cheap equipment, whatever it is. And that is a pattern with me, but I overdo it. So I sometimes buy stuff that is built for like industrial kind of use, and then I realize it. I bought like a huge kind of wood chipper, like for outdoors, for the garden, a wood chipper, and I bought the biggest wood chipper that I could buy, and now I can hardly move it. You know, it hasn't even been used yet because it's so big that you need 3 people to move it. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens with my plant lamp too. So yeah, today it's easier. The newer lamps are cheaper. Yeah, Dave, I believe it. I mean, if you heat up, I can maybe like see that if you would heat up the water and put it in, that it would keep the heat inside the box or whatever you have them. I mean, basically, when I have my plants in the greenhouse, every now and then I put candles in it, just classic cemetery candles. You know, they don't generate a lot of heat. A lot of people have seen photos and videos of these kind of clay pot kind of heaters where you put a candle below the clay pot and it heats up, and they generate heat. You know, they generate maybe 2 degrees of heat, like make everything a few degrees warmer. But the result is basically the same as if you would put a candle into the greenhouse, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit warmer. So yeah, that is something that I also do with the greenhouses. You know, just put something hot into the greenhouse to avoid that the electricity is running all the time. I have a lot of candles, and when the night gets very, very cold, like minus 10, 15 degrees Celsius, then I put them in. And this year we will probably do it too. I already have the candles ready. And later today we will move the heaters into the greenhouses. So yeah, we will do a lot of winter kind of stuff now in the next couple of weeks. Yesterday night we had minus 4 degrees Celsius, so really hard frost. And there are no heaters in the greenhouses yet. So we need to do that probably today. For the next kind of cold phase, we need it. So yeah. You're welcome, Dave. Always happy to comment and give advice. Maria, it needs to be like in order to induce the germination, it's ideal to kind of have a regular temperature that is somewhat stable, not too cold. I mean, it's not a problem if the daytime temperatures go a little bit higher than 30 degree. You know, that 29 degree, that is a safe range kind of point where you can where it probably will wake the seeds up. But there will always be cases, for example, when you have older seeds that need a little bit more heat. So sometimes it can be good to go a little bit above 30 degrees. And I mean, during the day, the temperatures should be steady, like hours, you know, like 10, 12 hours at the least, holding that kind of temperature, like you would have in a normal day. You're kind of also trying to mimic the setting that you would have, that the seedlings would have in their natural habitat. Daytime temperatures then maybe 29 to 30. And during the nights, it often gets cold where these cacti are from. So it's not really that big of a problem if the nighttime temperature drops a little. But I wouldn't let the temperature go below 20 degrees Celsius at night. Because the colder it gets, you still have them in a closed bag. And humidity, which you have in the bags, and cold temperatures, they don't go along well with cacti. It's just a combination that should be avoided. So if the nighttime temperature goes below 20 Celsius, that's okay. Like roughly to 20 degrees Celsius, but I wouldn't go much lower. It's not that it is unsafe, but the longer they are in that kind of temperatures, the more likely you can lose 1 or 2 seedlings here and there, or you can get the kind of pests that don't like the higher temperatures, but thrive in lower temperatures, you know. So at least for the time of the germination, try to stay above 20 degrees. And in order to get them to germinate, 29, 30, 31, 32 is the kind of range that I am personally aiming for. You can get seedlings before that. You can already get seedlings at 25. But it's not, it always depends on the viability, age of the seeds. And the older the seeds, the more helpful a high temperature can be. Okay, take care, Dave. So, yeah. Hope that helps you. So let's continue. Well, I want to check a few more seedling containers. I'm really happy that nobody has called yet about that stuff, about that window. It has become a huge thing. I can only repeat what I said in the other videos. This kind of stuff is no problem when you have a lot of money, but when you are kind of struggling a little bit, like I am from just divorce, you know, it instantly becomes a problem to get that replaced fast. All these companies they are fully booked. Apparently, it pays well to have that kind of, you know, this kind of work pays well, apparently. So they get work reliably too. Yeah, over here, I mean, I don't think I've opened up a container today that looked bad. I found one seedling that I removed in one bag, and that was it. And everything else was okay. So that is great. And when I'm done here, I want to go through the other containers that we have at the heat source. Because the temperature is slowly getting to the point where they should come up. So let me just get a few so we can check on them. Give me a second, all right? Just throwing a little piece of wood onto the oven so we can, so the fire doesn't go out. And then we check the containers that have come up. If any of them have come up, let's see. I've seen a few seedlings here and there, but it needs to be worth it. I don't want to move them under the lamp until I have a fair amount of seedlings. Okay. Let's go through them. And like I said, in the next days, we will be sowing out again. Sowing out is always important. I mean, I'm trying to show how to sow out here. So we will continue to sow out soon. You see, we are fully booked already. And I had to slow down a little. But I just love being able to share this part of the hobby with you. I enjoy it, you know. Hey, Robert, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I had missed yesterday's stream, so I'm very happy that I'm here again today. It was like, yeah, a lot of work with the window, but I don't want to start again. But it's a pain. So yeah. I would show it. I would show the box tomorrow. So I need to find it. I have moved it somewhere because I wasn't using it. Because the size isn't what we needed for the channel. You see that what we have here already exceeds the space that little box had. But I built it to show how it's done, or to show how you can do it. Don't get me wrong. It's not well done. It's done. It works. Everything that I do, it will work, and that is enough. You know. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like when there are people that build these boxes and they build them perfectly. They have the right size. They even have like left out a little bit for the cable. everything inside, like covered with reflective kind of material. That can be done. That you can do that, but I cannot. I'm just not. Like everything that I have to build, like with handyman kind of work, I had to learn that by watching videos. I'm the way I grew up. I just had nobody who showed me how to build stuff. So everything I do is kind of, barely it works. That is the main criteria for me. Just that it can be, it will work short term, and if something needs to be replaced, we will replace it again. But I'm trying to keep things simple, like they are doing the military. I think they try to also just fix something temporarily, and if it breaks again, you can fix it again. Don't waste a lot of time, and that's how I approach things. So yeah, these are just induced germination from the oven, from the wood oven, and that is great germination rate. So yeah, I will show that seedling box tomorrow. I will bring it here, and then we will look at it. But it's poorly done. It's not that it's a great example, but it will just show you, if you have the skills of a child, you can probably replace it. You can probably do it the way I did, like replicate the same thing like I did. If I can do it, everyone can probably do it. Yeah. Yeah, Maria. I mean, if you don't have a whole room that you can heat, then a box like that could be great. Try to get a little bit bigger box. I mean, if you have already ordered one, make sure it's kind of like I said, styrofoam is a little bit better in regards to insulation than just cold plastic. But you can heat both. If you a heat pad is available in many different sizes, in many different dimensions. You can just put it in. So that will work too. That will save you kind of the cost of heating a whole room. It's of course it's very difficult to heat a room to the point where the seedlings come up without kind of wasting a little bit of unnecessary heat that you wouldn't need in the room. So yeah, I moved the seedlings to induce the germination to the wood oven. It doesn't really cost me that much to heat it, and we need to heat the house anyway with that thing. So that is a good way to induce germination without having to spend a lot of money to heat one more room. But yeah, I know how it feels. I had sometimes when my heater doesn't run, like the heater in the house, then I just can't induce germination the way I want it. That is something that you always know when you are trying to do this hobby, and you don't have like every year it takes a while until I can get the main heater running, because it's always a lot of work to get the stuff here to the house. So yeah, that is why I'm a big fan of that wood oven. It just works great. But of course, also brings in other kind of factors, that it can be too hot, that you can't block it in a way, can't be unsafe, that stuff. So yeah, these are good. These come under the lamp. 60 to 80 centimeter rectangular box. Yes, that would be great. I mean, you see how small the container is here, and this container, if I just guess how many seedlings are in there, I would say 60 to 80 minimum. A lot of seedlings in just this container. So in the beginning, you do not need a lot of space. In the beginning, the first maybe 6 months, a container will be great. Of that size. Later on, it becomes a huge thing. You need to imagine that every seedling that you have here will grow into a larger cactus. You either have to kind of transplant them, give them separate pots and all, or you will lose some. They will kind of thin themselves out by, when at some point, the bigger they get, at some point a problem will arise and you will lose seedlings. And if you do nothing, you will end up with a pot where you have maybe 4 to 5 seedlings in it. And I mean, that can work, but it's basically a waste of seedlings. You could just, if you don't have the space, just sow out fewer seeds per container. If you only have space later for maybe 100 plants or so, then only sow out maybe 10 per container. And that gives you more. You can always sow out more. The seeds have a limited viability, but apart from that, it is sometimes easier to reduce the number of seeds that you sow out and just do another sowing out later. Space is a huge issue with these, and I have what we're doing here, like all these seedlings, that is insanity. That will be a lot of work for us on the channel. I'm just doing it because I know that this is the kind of stuff that is great for the channel. And at some point we will have to kind of build a greenhouse just to house these. Otherwise it won't be possible. With the greenhouse space that I have now, you could not even grow maybe a tenth of what we grow now. So at some point we will have to build a bigger greenhouse on the channel. But for now, sowing out is a great activity, is a great hobby, and I always like to do it. It would be criminal to have such great seeds and not sow them out. So we will have to do that. So here's one where the seedlings just come up, where the oven has just induced the germination, and I can see maybe 10-15 seedlings, not more, and that is okay. That is enough for me to move it under the lamp. But if I only see one seedling in a container, I might not do it. I might leave it at the heat source, give it another couple of weeks. But sometimes you won't get more. Very often, when seeds don't germinate in the beginning, it can mean that they weren't viable. That you only had, like in this case here, I have a Lubivia cross, and I see one seedling, and that one seedling already looks weak. And that kind of tells me a story. It tells me that maybe I waited too long to sow out. Maybe the seeds have become unviable, or maybe the cross was genetically incompatible. That whatever cross I did there, whatever parents I crossed, that they weren't able to produce really viable seeds. That they just produced seeds that were not completely lifeless. That one came up, but it's not really comparable to the other containers where you have a whole container full of seedlings. So yeah, we'll see what we do here. There's one seedling in here that is actually not enough. But if you think about it, it's better than nothing. So I will keep these near the heat for a little longer. And if nothing comes up, we will just move these into the greenhouse. I don't like that when I have a container that is where we just have one seedling or two. But again, if it's a rare cross, if it's a really, really good cross, it's better than nothing. One seedling can be enough to have that amazing hybrid that you show on the channel in 7 years. One plant is all it takes sometimes for that masterpiece to come to life. So yeah, so let's move these aside. These are full, lots of seedlings. This goes under the lamp. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, also another seedling, but the seedling looks like almost transparent. And that gives me, like, that shows me that maybe there was a genetic problem with this cross. Compatibility problem. Not all plants can be crossed. And I mean, sometimes that's good, you know, like it keeps you from raising sickly kind of plants, sickly kind of seedlings. Sometimes you get seeds and none come up, and sometimes you make a cross that you would never think is possible, but it not only does it succeed, but the seedlings look great and grow great. It always depends, you know. Okay, so here we have a few seedlings. 8 seedlings in here. I guess that's barely enough to put it under the lamp. The reason I move them away from the heat so fast is that I want to avoid losing the seedlings, because the moment you have the seedlings, they are very sensitive to overheating. And yeah, happy to take questions. If not, we will just continue to do this kind of stuff here. Later today, I will film a video just moving the heaters into the greenhouse. It's a little bit more complex, so I probably won't be able to stream. But I will film it and I will do a video, probably titled something like Overwintering in a Greenhouse, something like that. Because we need the heaters now. I already wanted to move them out yesterday, but I wanted to do it on camera. So we will do that today. There's a question, how do you go about hardening off the seedlings? I try to keep them in the closed containers for as long as I can, because that is safest. You know, the longer you have them in there, the longer they will grow. If nothing happens, nothing bad happens, never change a winning team. Let it grow, let it ride until there's a reason to change something. We try with these, we try to keep them indoors for at least 6 months now. I want to avoid moving out seedlings that then have a hard time surviving. So we need to keep them indoors under the lamp for as long as we can. I want to get to a point where when we move the seedlings out, they are already big enough that there's no risk of losing them. So we can just decide how many seedlings we want to keep of each cross. And yeah, in order to do that, I don't start hardening up for 6 months if I can. If I have to open them, and that will happen. There will be many cases where we have maybe fungus gnats, or where there's a fungal infection that starts to happen in the container. And then we have to consider at some point removing the plastic bag that is around it, removing the humidity, the high humidity. And you can't do that from one day to another without compensating for it. So if at any point now, from now on until the next half year, there's a problem like a fungal infection, we need to think about hardening them off right away. Opening them up a little bit, you know, just like this. Maybe closing it up on one side and only on one side, and leave the other side open a little bit, and spraying them. When you leave it like this, you need to consider that you might have problems with fungus gnats. That can be a problem, you know, so you're also on a kind of a time window when you're hardening up. So try to get it done slowly over time, but steadily. So maybe in 3-4 days you do it like this, and then the next week you open it a little bit further, always making sure that the seedlings in there do not dry out. they shouldn't dry out. I know that cacti can take a lot of drought, but the much bigger risk in the beginning, when they are young, is that they are drying out. Young seedlings are not like large cacti. They just need a lot more humidity. In nature, I guess it takes 10,000s of seedlings until one of them reaches adulthood, gets large, gets a mature plant. It takes immense amounts of seedlings in habitat for them to grow old, for only one to grow old. So what we do here greatly increases the chance that they will make it, and that all that humidity that we give them, they might not be able to get in nature. And there, nobody cares. Nobody realizes that lots of seedlings are lost everywhere, but when you're doing it like this, you see it, you have it in front of you. So you try to give them a lot of humidity in the beginning, and the moment you let it, you stop watering it, you stop spraying them, it becomes a problem. They are just not used to it within the first at least 6 months. So if you take them out, do it slowly over weeks, maybe even months, and then they can kind of face the lamp. But also long term, you will have to spray them all the time. Small seedlings need a lot of humidity. So I always had the problem when I got started that I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong, but I was seeing that I was doing something wrong. I was losing seedlings, but I couldn't tell if if it was because of too much water or not enough. So I was constantly letting them dry out too much. And it took very long until I had the experience to see that once you start spraying the seedlings that are struggling, that they would get bigger and bigger again. Like when you get to the point when you are unsure, it's often that they don't get enough water, that they don't get enough humidity. But it always depends, if the soil is wet, soaking wet for a month, then the roots will not get any kind of oxygen either. The roots need to be able to draw the oxygen out of the soil, and they can only do it if the soil also gets dry every now and then, like a little bit. In the closed containers, there's always humidity, so the soil doesn't get completely dry. But it can't be that the soil, that you have water standing in this thing. There shouldn't be any water like kind of collecting, because that will greatly decrease the amount of oxygen that is available to the seedlings in the soil. So yeah, but in most cases where I had problems, I was not watering enough. You always read about all these different kinds of ways to do it, but when you see it in practice, a seedling that is not getting too much, that is getting too much water, and a seedling that is not getting enough water, they can look very similar, because the process is very similar. The moment you have a container and soil that is waterlogged, that has just completely turned everything into a swamp, there's no oxygen, barely any oxygen that the seedlings can take in from the soil, so finding the middle ground is so difficult, because you read all that different information online, different kind of opinions, and also different methods, because everyone lives different in a different place of the world, so you sometimes have to make the experiences yourself and go from there. So yeah, that's how I kind of harden them up, always removing a little bit of the bag, but then spraying them again, then maybe not spraying them for a few days, maybe for a week, but then spraying them again for 2-3 days, just to kind of replace or mimic the natural weather outdoors. No, that's not. No, that's not. It's cactus flower seedlings. I gotta say about the comments, if the comments are kind of like, you know, that kind of stuff, I will have to like mute the members on the channel, and I hate to do that, you know, but we're growing cactus flower hybrids here, so I really need the comments to also be like that, you know. So thank you for understanding. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Over here, only one seedling, and that is really sad, because this is a good cross, so I will water it a little bit. Maybe we can get another seedling out of this container. It's a good cross. Between a columnar cactus and a flower, like a hybrid with ruffled flowers. And I would have hoped that I get more than one seedling, but unfortunately, no. So yeah. Over here we have 4 seedlings, also not too many. Also looking weak, one of them. Sometimes you get the tiny seedlings that are barely alive, that have no chance of growing. But yeah, we'll see. Also, this one needs a little bit more water, but not too much. You don't want to turn everything into a swamp. It needs to be somewhat still able to get in the oxygen into the roots, into the soil. Okay. But I would give these another chance. Over here, we only have 1 or 2 seedlings each, and these need to go to the heat source again. This one here also just 1 seedling. Maybe we weren't really hitting the right temperature in the last days. I wasn't really heating so much yesterday while I was working on the window, so maybe we will get more seedlings in the next couple of weeks. These will go to the heat source. The others will go under the plant lamp, and yeah, in the next days we will sow out again. But yeah, let me move these away, and I will bring a few more. But overall, 1 seedling is better than having none. Always keep that in mind, because sometimes we subconsciously kind of neglect the ones where we only have 1 seedling in favor of the ones that are full of seedlings. But the 1 seedling can be enough. Okay, some more that I have here. Where we induce the germination. Regular checking is important. You really gotta avoid to put them at a heat source and forget about them, because that will lead to the seedlings will first germinate, and then they will not take the heat anymore. You know, they only take heat in the beginning for a very short time, and you need to have that right window between inducing germination and moving them elsewhere. Yeah, so there's a lot of ash on the bags. But yeah, that's the price of using a wood oven as a heat source, you know. Okay. So yeah, here, a lot of seedlings. This is the kind of stuff that I moved straight under the lamp, under the plant lamp. This will go there. Most of the seeds have come up by now. but there are always a few that aren't there yet, or where we only have very few seedlings in the container. Okay, so here there's a really bad looking seedling. I need to move that out before it becomes a problem. And then this needs to be a little bit more, need a little bit more water. Hey mate, I'm from Europe. I was born in Saarland, Germany. Terrible weather for growing cactus. So yeah, in this one here we have 4 seedlings, and that might already be enough. It's not that I'm super happy with it, but the way this looks, I don't think we will get more seedlings from them. So this will go under the lamp. Hey mate, greetings to you at another part of the world. Always great to see how the how the internet brings people together. You know, just doing stuff together. We're sowing out cactus seedlings. That is great. I don't know who that is, but that's great. So yeah, I'm Patrick, by the way. We're sowing out cactus seedlings. A lot of people seem to find the stream from general audience. We're sowing out cactus seedlings. These are all like flower hybrids. Yeah, great to meet you too. We've been sowing these out for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and now everything is slowly getting to the point where we can start showing the first results. In the next days, we will get back to sowing out again. And yeah, I want to do this on a regular basis. In summer, we're doing it from outdoors, just streaming from the cactus greenhouses. If you want to see, find more, want to see more about the stuff that I do, check out the channel. I have a lot of videos of the kind of plants that we're sowing out here, you know. So for everyone who is kind of new to the hobby or whatever, it's a very rewarding hobby. It is, it's fun to see something grow in front of your eyes, you know. Being able to just sprinkle a few seeds, and in the end you have something nice, something new. Do you use a lot of lights? I have one plant lamp. Apart from that, no. Because of the cost of electricity, it adds up, you know. Like the lamp that I use is something like a 100-watt lamp. I guess that it definitely costs me like $50 a month to run it. 50 to maybe 40, definitely not cheap. So yeah, I had to limit it to one lamp, but that lamp, I made sure that I got a really good one. That is in comparison to the cactus seedlings, you know, it's not a great lamp in general, but it's for what we do here for the cactus seedlings that do not need an excessively strong lamp. What I have will be great, and it helps to get the seedlings through the first difficult phases where they are very vulnerable, where you can lose them fast. So in the beginning, that one lamp can make the difference. LED, yes, I have a LED lamp, and like I said, it's not a great one. I think the manufacturer is called Mars Hydro, and I've read a lot of mixed results about that one, like mixed reviews. But for the kind of stuff that we are growing, like for just classic cactus seedlings, they do not need a strong lamp. They could probably also grow with a lamp that only has half of the output, half of the electricity use. So maybe long term, we will get another lamp, like maybe when the lamps become more efficient within the next couple of years. In my opinion, every year when a new generation of LED lamps comes out, they get better. So yeah, next year, or maybe the year after, we will get another lamp again. Maybe trying to save a little bit electricity cost, but for now, we're just, it's cost of doing business. It's so we can show the seedlings on the channel, and I'm happy to pay it. But overall, I try to always keep the costs low, electricity costs low, because it costs a lot now. Prices have risen everywhere, and since you do not really need it for growing cacti, it isn't really something that takes takes a lot of space in the channel that I show a lot. But we will discuss some lamps in the next videos sometime soon. But the basic kind of plant LED lamp that you get now, like the current generation kind of lamp, will work for the seedlings. The bigger they are, the more difficult it gets to grow them indoors also. And of course, it helps to have a lamp where you could also keep them indoors for another half a year or year, if you want to do that. That could help a lot. So yeah, let me put these aside. These will go to the heat source again. Tom is saying he's been sowing out in March, and it's a bit late. Yeah, I mean, if you sow out in March, it becomes more difficult to get them to be big enough to safely survive the winter by the end of the season. It will depend on how you overwinter them again. If you always intend to keep them indoors for long, then it doesn't really matter when you sow out. Generally speaking, I know a lot of people that sow out around March to May, because in that time you can make use of the natural heat that you get in the greenhouse, because the temperatures in the greenhouse will already be super hot in March. Greenhouse heats up fast, so if you sow out in the greenhouse, you can kind of make use of the heat in the greenhouse during the main summer season, spring season. But that always means that you will have a hard time getting them big enough by the end of the season. And a lot of people that grow them try to overwinter them in the greenhouse in the next winter already. So a lot of breeders start sowing out in winter, including myself. I start sowing out around December usually. This year we did it a little bit earlier for the channel to do this on the stream, because this is a great activity on stream. And when you sow out in winter, let's say December, when you move the seedlings out, they are already beyond the point where you can lose them from slugs, or if a slug attacks them, the chance is higher that whatever is left will regrow. And yeah, that is why I try to do it around December, maybe November. It's a fun winter activity too that I really enjoy. But yeah, there are many different ways to do this. It's just it will be more difficult to get them through the winter in a cold environment. If you don't mind that, if you just keep them indoors, it doesn't matter, but generally speaking, it can help to have the seedling already at a stage where you could put them in the sun. That would be the ideal situation, where it's already hardened up, where you can already move them out. And in order to do that, you probably have to start a little bit earlier. But it always depends on also where you live. Other countries have a different kind of climate. Like in Australia, the situation is completely the opposite. Like they have summer when I have winter, and so their time schedule will completely change. Hey, David. So I'm just in the last phase of the stream. I'm still taking a few questions here and there, going through seedlings. But yeah, at some point I will have to face the bitter reality of my bathroom window again. So let me just get a few more. Over here I have a few more that I have. But I think these are all. None of these have come up. Maybe we have to put these closer to the heater. Just 2 seedlings in this one. So in general, it's not easy to get the right temperature, to keep the right temperature. Okay. So yeah, tomorrow I will bring that little box that I built, that I discussed earlier, so I can show you how you could theoretically build a box. And I want to say it again, whatever I build is basically the kind of stuff that a child would build. And that is, on one hand, it's great because it allows everyone to replicate what I do. But yeah, don't expect high quality work from me. Everything I do is kind of self-taught. And sometimes you just have to get the work done no matter how. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I believe in doing stuff in favor of doing it perfectly. Because when you always have these high expectations from you will never do it. You will always have that feeling that you want to do it perfectly, but that feeling never comes. Like that time where you can do the time to do everything perfectly will never come. So you waste a lot of time where you could just have experimented, So we will bring that kind of box into the live stream so you can just take a look at it. But it works without one too. You could just put the seedlings in the bags that we built here besides the heater in order to get them to germinate. But yeah, we will do more of that in the next days. Also sowing out again. So yeah, apart from that, any more questions? Happy to take them. And if not, I mean, I will probably get to the point where my smartphone battery is giving up. So stream is coming to an end soon, but I really appreciate that you guys are here. Today we had a very busy stream, and I love that. I really appreciate so many people finding the channel, so many new subscribers finding the channel, and I love that. I have spent a lot of time building the channel, growing the channel, and finally seeing it in what it has become today is making me proud. So always happy to do these streams with so many people around that just participate, And I'm always taking questions, also general questions, but keep them professional. We're on YouTube. In the end, I always have to make sure that YouTube isn't having a problem with it. So every now and then a comment won't go through, or we will have to remove one. I'm sorry for that, but we're on, it's a family friendly kind of thing that we're doing. And I really, that matters to me, that it is accessible to everyone. I started growing cactus at a relatively young age. It is not directed at younger people, but it should be at least to a point where it's nothing that is only, a niche subject, that kind of stuff. What kind of hobbies do you enjoy besides breeding and growing cacti? I love collecting vintage clothes. Like I have a pretty big collection of these old school like tracksuits, these colorful windbreakers that they had in the 90s, like really funky stuff. And if you want, I will show some of them when we're walking outdoors, like every now and then. Get one of the most funky tracksuits that I have. Like I really love that old kind of streetwear that they had in the 90s, in the 80s, and I collect everything vintage, like vintage toys. I enjoy movies. I enjoy watching all kinds of movies because I have a background being a journalist in movies. I was writing for different kind of movie magazines in the past. And yeah, all kinds of that stuff. I enjoy like doing stuff, helping animals, that kind of cliche kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, but that's basically who I am, and I want to bring more of it into the channel too. But I always have that feeling that I don't want to overload people with my vintage stuff, you know. Like a lot of people have kind of subscribed for the cactus content, and I'm trying to, you know, to stay on subject, but I will allow me to go a little bit off topic every now and then, show a bunch of stuff, you know. I feel like that could work great for the channel too. So yeah, thank you for the question. I'm always happy to talk about that, because in the past, like when you're running a page like this, people aren't only one thing, you know. They aren't only that one kind of interest that they have, and I have a lot of different kind of stuff that I did in my life that I enjoy, and it's often fun for me to kind of show a bit of that part of myself too. So yeah, thank you for the question. I love that, and in the future maybe I'll bring out some of the funky tracksuits, like with the crazy colors that they don't make like that anymore. Okay, thank you guys for the support again, either here on Patreon, on anywhere. I appreciate all the support that I get. This thing has grown so much just in the last months, and I'm thankful. I'm a very humble guy, and these chats mean a lot to me. So thank you for making it what it is. You know, I couldn't do it if I would just be sitting here without anyone taking notice. Then this would be a very boring kind of thing. And but every time I'm going on stream, there you never know what happens. You get interesting questions all of the time. So thank you for making these streams possible. Okay. So yeah, I will do another stream tomorrow again, and I will film another video about the heaters in the greenhouses later today, and it might come already online, might already be online in the evening. So yeah, keep an eye out. Thank you for the stream. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Okay. Thank you guys for participating, everyone. I'm so thankful. Bye.